All right, Shalom. This is Howl one, Bun Yasharahla of the Lionz Den camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Harakah Kodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, Nakwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Got some stuff in my spirit, man. I want to go through. Dealing with these elites and the Illuminati. They're nobles, they're upper echelon. All right. So I want to read one of the quotes from their one of the elite families, which is the Rothschilds, which I just call them one of the elite families. You know, a lot of people, when you speak of so-called conspiracy theories, and it's not just a theory; it's a real conspiracy. When a conspiracy is real, it's not just a theory. So that these people are truly conspiring. All right, and this is proof of it right here. These people are rulers of nations, manipulators of economies, of corporations, of politics, politicians, of media. You see that? So a conspiracy theory? No, it's just a conspiracy. All right. But this guy here named Nathan Meyer Rothschild. And the name Rothschild means red shield. Okay, red shield. Now it started from I forgot his name. I think it's Meyer Amschel Bauer was the father of the Rothschilds. All right, the red shield. And they lived in the house. His real name was Bauer, right? Which means to bow or slaves. Okay. And they called themselves the Jews, but the scriptures say that they're not the real Jews; they're fake Jews. So they call themselves what? Jesuits. All right. So these are basically Edomites that try to take on our customs like Herod did. So they were living in a place called Frankfurt. All right, over there in Europe. All right, Frankfurt with a T at the end. And Meyer Amschel Bauer, he was a coin collector. Okay, and at that time, the government would let people collect coins, from different states or countries, and you can transition them. There was a lot of different coins being passed around. It wasn't just one set currency. It was like a lot of coins being passed around. And he lived in a place called the House of the Red Shield. All right, or the House of Rothschild. The word red shield just means Rothschild. All right, vice versa. So they lived in this place. They said it was like a small little ghetto. That's what they call a ghetto. And and it was like a 60 family house or area. It was real small, a few yards long, and it turned into 100,000. So it was like real impoverished. So Esau was, we know them to be the original caveman, and them to be on the bottom. That's what they started. Their conquest against us. That's why they came against us during the time of Babylon, during the time of what you would call the triumvirate. The Roman Empire, the Greeks. Herod, when he was impoverished, they came from Edom, and he wanted to go back and build that area. These Edomites, the Rothschilds, they wanted Meyer Amschel Bauer. He wanted to get a high seat in the government or in the politics or in the banking system. All right. So what he did was he started selling coins to one of the rulers at that time because he had a bunch of different coins. He started being a coin collector, and he started selling coins to this certain ruler. I don't know if he was a prince, emperor, or what they called a lord at that time. Anyway, he was selling these coins to this ruler, this leader, and this leader made Meyer Amschel Bauer their coin advisor for the government. So he got a high seat in the government. All right, this was all the Most High allowing these devils to come out of that pit and be a part of that wicked body, like the Rockefellers, you know, the DuPonts, the J.P. Morgans, uh, and so on and so on. Man, the Bushes, all of them. So all these different families, they were in that same spirit of conquest. Taking over areas and taking over countries and conquering land and going over here to Americas and enslaving people, taking them back to the king, queen of Spain and shit like that in England, um, giving report back to them, stealing the gold, stealing the silver. And they were saying, anybody that comes over here to the Americas and gets a ship or a team together, you can go over there and you'll be rich. And they've been doing it ever since, man. And then you had the Wild Wild West. You saw the gold in them hills. They're the impoverished ones, man. They're the poor ones. You know, that's why scriptures call them a base man. In their rich level, all you see in the old movies is done with a gold tooth in their mouth, stank, dirty, dirt from head to toe, drinking booze or whiskey, walking up the street. Now, too, a lot of our people um, are walking in that same mindset as Esau. You know, being a thief and a vagabond. That's why scripture call him a thief. So to get back to the point, man, this guy Meyer Amschel Bauer, right? He once he got raised up in the political system, being a coin advisor, he got rich. And he started manipulating systems and manipulating loans to people and shit like that. And he would take the gold and the currencies that he would make, and he set up his 5 sons in different countries like France, Netherlands or whatever, different areas in different countries. All right. Now, when he set his children up in those countries, they set up what you call today's banking system, to where they give loans, right? Or you make a deposit and it gains interest, So what they would do is you would go to one son and one of his sons, his children in one country, and you would say, hey, I want to travel over here to from the Netherlands to uh, um, what you would call England, all right, or France. And he would say, one of them, Nathan, or one of the sons would say, hey, well, my brother is in that country. If you go to him, he has gold. I have gold. So you can give me your gold. I don't need it. I got money. I got gold anyway, but you can give it to me and I'll write you this bond, this certificate, this dollar. Now they call them dollars, but this promise to pay. See that, this debt note. You keep a part of it, I keep a part of it. You take these numbers to him. All right. Now, and what they would say is, hey, you take that certificate and I'll keep your gold. And the name of the game is, if you don't have it in your hands, you don't own it no more. Because the thief can just take it. That's why the scriptures say that. Stash your riches in heaven, where rust nor moth nor thief do break through and steal or corrupt. All right. So every time you go to use the ATM, what happens? You got to pay a fee. Those small fractional reserve currencies or fees, um, fractional reserve fees, they get rich off of that. They take a little bit from everybody's pocket. Every time you get paid, every time you cash a check, you're playing their game. We're playing their game. That's why the Lord called us a worm. We have to be delivered from this shit. Because they set up a whole damn system, the banking system, all the spirits that leaped out of the mouth of the dragon, out of Europe, the Roman Empire, with Esau, the military, banking, and religion. All right. But this guy, Meyer M. Bauer, he set up his 5 sons, and you would go give one of the sons your gold or your resources, and they would give you a certificate. That certificate, you would take it to the next country, to the other family member, to one of the brothers. And by the time you get there, it might take them a month, 2 months, whoever knows how long. And when they get there, the interest would be so high, they might have put 7,000 in gold, but when they get there, they owe 8,000. You see that? So that's how the banking system got caught up, and they started the loans. You know, they started robbing people like that, stealing the resources. And then the war with Napoleon. All right, the Rothschilds was so rich. Let me get this real quick. All right, so I just want to get the names cleared of these devils. The daddy was Meyer Amschel Bauer or Rothschild. They changed their name to Rothschild, representing the house that they were born in or that they lived in, and it was what was called the fake Jewish ghettos. Okay. Um. Now the word Red Shield, Rothschild is the same thing as the Red Shield. All right. They lived in a place called the House of Rothschild, and they said that place was so dark that sunlight never went into that damn place. It was just dark in there. That's spiritual right there. You know, dealing with these Edomites. This might be Esau himself. Shit. Uh, One of the sons was named Amschel Meyer von Rothschild. All right, and I think he's the first one that broke into the British courts and became a lord. All right, they had dukes and lords in the Bible talking about Esau. Over there in London, they call themselves dukes and lords and shit. And I think if you call yourself a practicing Jew, anyway, if you called yourself a Jewish person, which is not a real Jew, then you couldn't be a lord in the courts of England or Britain. So this guy became a lord. So that was like another achievement, just like his dad, uh, Meyer Amschel Bauer. Okay, so what's it called, the Lords of London. All right, Solomon Meyer von Rothschild, another devil. Carl Meyer von Rothschild, James Meyer D. Rothschild, and the one I'm reading about today, and his quote that I'm gonna read in a second, is Nathan Meyer von Rothschild. All right, so these are all the upper elites of the Rothschild bloodline, which stem back to Edom, and the word Edom just means red. Red Shield, Rothschild. All right, I'm gonna read this. It says the Rothschild family is a wealthy family, Jewish anyway. Jewish, anything with ish on it means pertaining to. They're not actual Jews. All right, you know we all know this if you're in the truth. The Rothschild family is a wealthy family, Jewish family, meaning imposters, originally from Frankfurt, that rose to prominence with Meyer Amschel Rothschild in 1744 to 1812. Okay, so that was right around the time of right before the Industrial Revolution, I think. A court factor to the German landgraves of Hesse-Kassel in the Free City of Frankfurt, Holy Roman Empire. You see that, man? That's these damn Edomites over there in Europe, man. Came out of the dragon. Who established his banking business in the 1760s. So they established their banking business in the 1760s. All right. And those banking businesses later turned into corporations. All right. Um, so he started that in the 1760s. Unlike most previous court factors, Rothschild managed to bequeath his wealth and established an international banking family through his 5 sons. So he went international, worldwide. All right. They started dealing with world powers and manipulating world economies and politicians. So they became more powerful than governments. All right. Creating hedge funds and um, what you would call investors or shareholders. So it says, unlike most previous court factors, Rothschild managed to bequeath his wealth and established an international banking family through his 5 sons, who established businesses in London, Paris, Frankfurt in the Roman Empire, Vienna, and Naples. Okay. The family was elevated to noble rank in the Holy Roman Empire and the United Kingdom. See that, man? So they became nobles. They became lords or princes, whatever you want to call them. That's the wolf taking care of the wolf, or the devil taking care of the devil, putting crowns upon their own heads. All right, and they blessed the covetous. So they made him a prince or a ruler, even though he was sharking people, getting money, stealing resources from people through fiat currency, funny money. The family was elevated to noble rank in the Holy Roman Empire and the United Kingdom. The family's documented history starts in the 16th century Frankfurt. Its name is derived from the family house, Rothschild, built by Isaac Elkanan Bacharach in Frankfurt in 1567. I want to look him up because he probably built it with some Masonic type of mindset, or probably knew about Edom. All right. So I'm gonna get some more points on this dude. All right. I wasn't planning on reading this much, but I want to read this because it got some interesting points in it dealing with Napoleon and Nathan Meyer Rothschild. Okay. Because I think he was the one that funded both sides of the war. Okay, with Napoleon and Russia. But anyway, let's read into it. And they funded both sides of the war, and they knew the outcome of the battle at Waterloo before any other governments knew. All right, so let's read it. Um, it says gold securities trading and the Napoleonic Wars. From 1809, Rothschild, talking about Nathan, began to deal in gold bullion. If you look up the Rothschild, they got a lot of gold. You know, the scriptures say um, the rust of it shall be a witness against them. All right, the gold and the silver and the riches that they have. The rust of it showing that you look on the earth, you see nothing but poverty, but you look at them, they got all the riches. So it shows that they're the thief. They're the ones. They're Esau that gained the fatness of the damn earth, that rule um, with a certain number of families working that pyramid scheme all the way down to the bottom. It says from 1811 on, in negotiation with Commissary General John Charles Harries, he undertook to transfer money to pay Wellington's troops. So he was paying the troops, all right, of Wellington's on campaign in Portugal and Spain against Napoleon. So he was funding the armies that were going against Napoleon. And later to make subsidy payments to British allies when these organized new troops after Napoleon's disastrous Russian campaign. Later, during the 1840s, as early socialists in France, such as Alphonse Toussaint and Pierre Leroux attacked the Rothschilds and the Jewish financiers in general, a French socialist from among their circle named George Derville, whatever, authored a work entitled, check this out, y'all. He had a work that he entitled Edifying and Curious History of Rothschild, the First King of the Jews. See these devils, man? Goddamn devils, man. The King of the Jews. See that? When they know damn well, they know damn well that they wrote that over the cross that Yahweh Shai was on, a so-called black man, so-called Negro. And when they crucified him, they wrote, "Here lies the King of the Jews." Right? Yahweh Shai, that was crucified, gave his life for us. Not that got rich through thievery and deception. It says within. It says within he made claims about Meyer Rothschild's early knowledge of the outcome of the Battle of Waterloo. See that they had their resources were so powerful that they knew about the outcome of a battle before another country did. It says whose couriers delivered information about the victory back to London before the British cabinet itself knew. All right. So before the even British government or the British cabinet or you know, before they knew, the Rothschilds couriers, which is like messengers or deliverers and stuff, they knew. It says claiming that he used the knowledge to speculate on the London Stock Exchange. All right. And make a vast fortune by unfair advantage against the other British stockholders, essentially defrauding them. So he's a fraud, a con man. All right, just like J.P. Morgan's dad and DuPont and Rockefeller. All of them were con men, you know. So it says the Rothschild family and others have claimed that this embellished version of the events originated in 1846 writing was further embellished by John Reeves in 1887 in The Rothschilds. This is the title of the book, The Financial Rulers of Nations. So they rule the nations through the money. All right, some countries, some Edomites rule through other resources. That's their focus. Some rule through media, some rule through oil. All right, some rule through agriculture, through science. Some rule through the courts, through the politics, through the media. I said media, but through what they feed the children. Some people rule through the school system. All right, so they got all kind of rulership, but it's a joint organization. Okay, that's why it's called a beast, because an organization is an organism, something living, even though it's dead, it's like a zombie. All right. So let me read this last part. It might be interesting. I don't know what it's going to say. Uh, historian Niall Ferguson agrees that the Rothschilds' couriers did get to London first and alerted the family to Napoleon's defeat, but argues that since the family had been banking on a protracted military campaign, the losses arising from the disruption to their business more than offset any short-term gains in bonds after Waterloo. All right, so it offset any short-term gain, any short-term gains. All right, in after the Waterloo battle, because when some people go to war, the economies fall. Um, Rothschild capital did soar, so he got rich. But over a much longer period, Nathan's breakthrough had been prior to Waterloo when he negotiated a deal to supply cash to Wellington's army. So it was before that. So they helped finance in one side of the war, and then when they won, boom, they get rich anyway. The family made huge profits over a number of years from the government's financing by adopting a high-risk strategy involving exchange rate transactions, bond price speculations, and commissions. So that's how they make their money. All right. So let's get to the point. All right. Now this is one of the quotes of Nathan Meyer Rothschild, and this is what he said. And he said, "I care not what puppet." So are they puppets? Yes. Bush. I mean, Trump, Biden, Obama, Clinton, Bush. It doesn't matter. All of them. That's why they change it so quickly. Every 4 years. It doesn't matter. They're not um, a true ruler. It says, "I care not what puppet is placed on the throne of England to rule the empire." All right. So they do the same thing with America. They care not what puppet is on the throne. Because the banking system that they set up the banks here in America. All right. All right. So it says the banking system in America when it started, 1791. So the 1700s. All right. Chartered the first bank of the United States. I think it was in Philadelphia. The bank, which was jointly owned by the federal government and private stockholders. See, rich elites, stockholders, man. So it's owned by federal government, which the federal government is owned personally by the Rothschilds family. It's a family-owned business, private business, operating as a central bank in America. All right. So and it says, so now they want to decentralize and they want to take that central point and they want to move it to Europe again and have a central world bank, uh, that rule from Europe. It says the federal government and private stockholders, all right, they jointly owned this bank. It says was a nationwide commercial bank which served as the bank for the federal government and operated as a regular commercial bank acting in competition with the state banks. Wow. All right. So these banks that were set up, they were set up by what you would call the World Bank. And the World Bank that's over here in America it was started by Europe. Okay. And that is the connection to what you would call the Bank of England. The Bank of England supplies bonds to the Federal Reserve, all right, or the World Bank of America. So they get all their loans, all their bonds, as I spoke of in the beginning, promises to pay. They get all their bonds and buybacks, you know, like they'll get a bond and they use that same bond to buy another bond. So it's just buying more debt. That's why the scriptures say, "Woe unto her that laden herself with thick clay." That clay is debt that America's under Babylon. All right, the thick debt meaning loans. All right, So they started what? Giving loans to America, and through those loans, they would have slaves, and they would keep all the wealth. All right, the oppressor would keep all the wealth. But then when a lot of oppressors, like the guy that ruled Jamaica, and they had the sugar mills, when he couldn't pay his debts to society mean to Europe, then they would sit in prison for the rest of their life. Okay. So anyway, this is what they started. They had a Bank of England, which is owned by who? The Rothschilds. So it's a powerful family, man. Eat them. They've gained the fatness of the world through deception, man. Okay. Uh, uh, so now, what did they say? They said it's like 150 families, and then 13 families that rule them, and then those 150 families they rule the corporations and all the other families, and so on and so on. And the Rothschilds is just one of the families on a low scale. You know, there's families out there we don't even know about of Edom, but we will in the kingdom. And they actually have a monarch, meaning a top guy on the earth. And they're connected to the spiritual demon Satan on the left hand side. And we're gonna find out who those top guys are in the kingdom. They're gonna be our slaves. All right. So anyway, so they established the bank system, and they set up the banks here in America in 1791. And through the banks, they've been what? Uh, Basically keeping everybody locked into that system, man. You get cash on hand, dollars, gold, silver, whatever. You can keep it and put it up under your couch, under your bed, in the safe, wherever. You can make trades and bond deals with people, and the government will never know about it. They'll never get their taxes from it. See, they want that extra tax. That's how they keep their family rich, and they keep their progeny wealthy. So they'll say, "Hey, we need to switch this system. We set up the first world order based on the dollar. Now we need to switch it, crash the banks, and let's now have a central rulership from Europe, and let's give everybody digital, so that way we can control everything that gets passed from person to person, that gets sold or bought." That way, the scripture say in Revelation 13, you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have that mark. All right, the mark of the beast, the system, Rome, America and NATO, the Esau system, man. All right, so people saying that's not the mark of the beast, they don't understand the whole setup, the whole game that's at play here. They just speaking from their own vain fucking opinion. It ain't the chip. Man, it's embargo. Well, let me ask you this then. Break down what's going on at the height of the system, and then show me where it trickles down into a fucking embargo. No, it's gonna trickle right down into more control, to where they want to control the masses. All right, and put chips in the masses. So they built the World Bank. They set up the Bank of England to distribute to the World Bank and Babylon, the whore. And now, one of the quotes that he said was this. All right, they were funding both sides of wars, where a lot of killing and murder was happening. You see that? But they get moved up to being what? Nobles. It says, Nathan Meyer Rothschild, I care not what puppet is placed on the throne of England to rule the empire. So in America, the same deal, because the Rothschilds, they have complete investments into this place, Babylon. And if you ask any of the elites, I've seen interviews where they've been asked about the president, and they say, that had nothing to do with us. Basically, the president had no goddamn power, man. They got to go through Congress, Senate, all kind of stuff, man. You see, with Biden and Trump, It don't matter who in office. It's about uh, the Pentagon, all right, the military industrial complex. That's who runs America in the Federal Reserve. All right. Fed Chairman Powell. That's the president of America, the real president of the banking system called the United States. So says the man who controls Britain's, or you should say any nation's money supply controls the British Empire. They control the whole empire. And I control the British money supply. And who controls the American money supply? The Rothschilds, or a lot of these, basically, you might say Esau. So that, I'm gonna read that again. I care not what puppet is placed on the throne to rule the empire. The man who controls the money supply controls the empire, and I control the money supply. Who faces on the money? You see that, man? So let me get this real quick. This is James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, and they're the rich ones, all right? They have all the money. Weep and howl, and their descendants, their children. That's why the scriptures say, prepare slaughter for their children, for the sins of their fathers. All right. It says, go to now, ye rich men. So there's going to be a judgment on their nation. Weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. See that? So the Lord going to bring miseries upon them. And miseries deal with what? Hell or sorrow and loss and shame. All right. So that when they go to fill their belly, as the scriptures say in Job, the Lord going to what? Rain fire upon them. And they're going into slavery. And, and scriptures also say it's going to be like them that have dreamed and they drinking the water in their dream or something, juice. And then when they wake up, they still dry and thirsty and parched because the water wasn't really in their hand. That's Esau. Esau living in a fucking dream right now. All right, and we stuck in that damn nightmare. But someday Yahweh gonna wake them the hell up, throw that cold ass ice challenge water on them, and wake them the hell up out of that damn cozy nap that they have right now at rest. Lord gonna wake them up, and they're gonna wake up and what? Lift up their eyes in hell, right here on earth. Okay, and they're gonna want that water. They're gonna say, "Can I get a drop of water? Can I get a drop of freedom or comfort?" All right. So James 5:2. Your riches are corrupted, right? Their children and their riches are corrupted. And your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, man. All right. So all the riches that they have, that's going to be a witness against them when the Lord shows up. See, when Yahweh Shai showed up, he showed up meek. He rode up on a donkey, you know. He said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. He didn't care about that, man. All of that is nothing to him. What can you give to him? All right. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. All right. So they heaped all those treasures together so that they could be the rich man in the last days. The Lord put that in their spirit so they can manifest into being the wicked, who they are. Imagine in the last days they were in poverty. No, they're the ones. They got all the fucking gold. They stole the gold out of Fort Knox. They have big giant safes and banks full of gold bars bullion. If you go into the banks in America, they don't have shit. They're gonna keep a certain amount of money and they don't have gold and silver in them, except for like safety deposit boxes. But those belong to the public, the people. So they've heaped all their treasures together for the last days, the control of a nation's money. Then I don't care. I mean, cocky ass Edomite, prideful man. That's why the scriptures say that the spirit that is lifted up in them is not right. It's retarded. It's wicked. So behold, the higher it says, so they've heaped all the treasures together on the earth, the world resources for the last days, just so it could be taken from them. The Lord said everything that they took, they're gonna vomit it up. Right? He gonna make them drunken and make them vomit it up, punch them in the stomach. Behold, the higher, you walk up to somebody and how the police do, or what was that on? Denzel Washington. It was the movie. We called him Shuttlesworth, the basketball player. All right, and Denzel, he had the afro, and I forgot the name of that shit. They were playing basketball. If anybody remember the name, you can leave it in the comment board. But I want to see that movie again. All right, and he walked up to somebody. No, that was training day. It was on training day. Remember, he walked up to him. He said, "Yo, where is that?" And he walked up on Snoop Dogg, and he was in the wheelchair. He chased him through the damn store, got him in the back, and he said, "Where is it at? Where you hiding the drugs?" And he took a pencil. He said, "Huh?" And he put it down his damn throat, and he coughed it up. That's what the Lord gonna do to Esau, punk ass. All right. So it says this: Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, meaning like the Israelites that have built this damn society on their backs. They built the society on the backs of slaves. All right, which is of you kept back by fraud. So they keeping the pay and the gold and the wealth and the riches. They're keeping it through their fraud. That's why he said, as I read earlier in the article, they defrauded people. They're frauds, man. All right. So they're keeping all the information, the truth. They hide that from us. They do away with all the history books. They got them and shit in their archives, and they only let their children see it. And they teach them the way so they can keep world power, not just power over a corporation. I'm talking about power over nations, and then power over the people that have power over the damn nations. So it says, they've kept back um riches from people. That's why everybody here poor. It wouldn't be this way if Esau wasn't in the way. That's why the Lord said they got to be moved out of the way. All right, the mystery of iniquity. All right, and the scriptures say when the wicked are in power, the people mourn. All right, when the righteous are in power or in authority, the people rejoice. So the whole world is in mourning right now because the wicked are in power. They rule the world, and they do it through deception and fraudulent manipulation. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of armies, or Sabaoth. All right, so the hopeful elect are crying out to Yahweh, just like in Egypt. When we cried out in Egypt, we cried out in that Egyptian tongue. Later in some of us in the Hebrew tongue. In this society, we crying out in its English language and also in the Hebrew language, all right, the Paleo Hebrew, or around the world in different tongues. All right. Now Esau, it says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton, watching everything, looking everywhere. They lived in pleasures on the earth, man. Them and their families. So how would they need the kingdom? What do they need to be saved from? You know, that move in secrecy And it's billions of them, millions of them, man. It's a lot of them. And they populate, they inbreed, they have family. They, what do you call that? Incest. All right. It says, "Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you." Okay. And they the ones that control the media. They control the governments, which the government controls the police, the militaries, and the prisons. And that's they've been using that to slaughter our people in a lot of these hospitals. All right. And the media, which was like rap music, all kinds of influence to get people to damn depopulate. So they have killed the just, all right, with the establishment of America. Um, be patient, therefore, brethren. So we are to be patient, meaning long suffering, and be patient and wait for the Lord. Don't sell out to these devils. Be patient, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord, the one that's really running things, that runs all the nations, runs their thoughts, runs the system out in the heavens, runs the spirit world, you know, and he gonna run his foot right up their damn ass when he get here. So so we are to be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Right? He gave Esau all this power. Look what fucking level they on. Billions and billions. That's nothing. We're gonna be in the kingdom with power where you can't calculate it. All right. Just like you can't measure the height of heaven. You ain't gonna be able to measure our exaltation. Just like you can't measure Yahweh's exaltation. So they ain't gonna be no money that they can give to us. They may they may have to pay taxes to us and bring their resources to us. All right, but we ain't gonna need it. We can just take it from 'em. So we to be patient until the coming of the Lord, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. All right. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth. So in the midst of all of this, there's fruit growing. The Lord is waiting for his fruit to grow in the field, meaning the world, and have long patience for it. So he's waiting. He have long patience for it. So he's telling us to wait as well, for us to be perfected in our faith, and for the elect to wake up and pray to the Father and to Yahweh Shai. All right, pray to the Father to send Yahweh Shai until he receive the early and the latter rain. Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. I'm gonna read this. Really, this whole chapter is good, but I just want getting kind of late into this video, so I want to make it kind of short. Job 27:13. This is the portion of a wicked man with Yahweh. So this is Rothschild's portion, Esau's portion, you know. And this wasn't even a lesson I planned for this morning, but Spirit took me here. So, and the heritage of the oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. So he's the Almighty. So now you understand what Almighty means, yo, because Esau has some fucking power. And you can see it once you understand their wealth, their systems that they set up, their lineage, their long time rulership. That's power, man. But it's on the left hand side. And our Father and his son Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is gonna swamp their power, man. It's nothing to them. That's on the left hand side, it's nothing. All right. And Esau is nothing. And we're only something because Yahweh Shai told us we're somebody. We're his precious jewels. We're the true gods of the earth under Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Not just mortal men stealing riches. We're actually the gods. All right, the powers. But we have to be exalted and lifted up by the only true and living power, the Almighty Yahweh. All right, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. This for Esau. See, what they do is they stole all the riches on the earth and resources, and they pass them down through their family and through their lineages. And their family creates corporations and keeps that mindset going. And then more rich people pop up in the earth, and they hire them. They pull them into the families, like Zuckerberg. Like they say, Zuckerberg wasn't. He was not Illuminati, but now he will be. Now that he's become a rich man, upper elite. All right, dealing with media. Now they're gonna use him. If his children be multiplied, so if they're being multiplied in the world, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver right. So all the riches that they stole and resources they stole, and it's going to be a witness against them. Um, and the hire of the laborers that's kept back by fraud, that hire is going to be given back to the laborers, to the Israelites. That's why the Lord said in Revelation 2:9, I know thy works and thy poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy. You see that? It's a spiritual war. Blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So they're the adversary to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and to righteousness, and to real wealth and health, and and peace and riches. So they're the adversary to that. Verse 18, he buildeth his house as a moth. So they built America, they built their systems on this earth for their comfort. It's as a moth, though, as a booth that the keeper maketh. The rich man shall lie down. See, they lying down comfortable. Ah, yeah, we got a new world order set. But he shall not be gathered. He openeth his eyes, and he is not. See that in the kingdom? They're going to wake up, snap out of this damn wet dream that they're having. And you're going to wake up in hell, in slavery. Boy, to see that day. Rothschilds, or their descendants, in chains, 20, terrors shall take hold on him as waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. All right. So it says, for Yahweh shall cast upon him and shall not spare. He would fain flee out of his hands. So hey man, I'm gonna end it there, man. But the Lord said he got a judgment for these people that claim to be rich on the earth, and riches that we can't even imagine. Like the owner of M&M's, their family is like in Walmart, the Waltons, 200 something billion, 500 billions. Family, not just businesses, but family riches. All right. And they got families that trump that, like Bill Gates. They got families out there that make 4 times as much as him, like the M&M family, the one that make the M&Ms, and so on, and beyond that, because those are just corporations. So you go further up the echelon, you got families that own the color blue, you know, that own the fucking Roman Empire. You can't even imagine, man. So they run shit. So I may do a lesson on that next. But with that, hey, Nathan Meyer Rothschild, this damn heathen devil, and what he said, give me control over any nation's money, and I care not what puppet you put in power. And he like, and I control the money. See, that's pride, man. But they don't control shit. All right, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua controls everything. Hey, so with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.